To make our no-knead cranberry walnut bread, we're just gonna need a few simple ingredients and tools. First off, you're gonna need a large Dutch oven. This is a 6-quart one that I got from Bed Bath & Beyond, and it's light inside. Some of them are dark. And you're also gonna need some parchment paper to line the Dutch oven for when you're baking it. A large mixing bowl. We're gonna be mixing everything in here, and it calls to use a wooden spoon. I don't know why, I'm just gonna follow directions. Some dried cranberries, all-purpose flour, some sea salt, honey, some yeast, chopped walnuts, and some room temperature water. So I've got my little cheat sheet here because I'm recording on my phone and the recipe is actually on my phone. So here's my little cheat sheet. First off, it calls for 3 cups of flour. In case you guys are wondering, this is actually, I think it's like unbleached all-purpose flour from the King Arthur brand. And then it says on one side, put the half teaspoon of yeast. And on the other side, put the sea salt. I guess you're not supposed to combine salt and yeast because they don't like each other. I want to show you my little diagram that I drew here. Okay, and then it says mix the yeast into the flour. Okay, and then mix the salt into the flour. Okay, I'm gonna add half cup of chopped walnuts, but it's really 3/4 of a cup because I love nuts. And then it says to use 1 cup of dried cranberries. I think it's okay to use a little bit more because I like cranberries. Okay, 1 heaping cup. There you go. Mix that all together. Have you guys ever used a bread machine? I have one, but I haven't used one for like 3 years, and I think the reason why is because one of the functions is like no longer working and it's loud as F. So it's just sitting in my storage. Maybe I'll use it one more time before I actually like give it away or something. Now we're gonna mix 2 tablespoons of honey into our room temperature water. I actually took cold water and just heated it up in the microwave for like 30 seconds. 2 tablespoons. I know yeast likes honey. It may not like salt, but it loves honey. I think that's what activates the yeast. Sugar. Okay, so just gonna dissolve it in there. Okay, now that the honey is dissolved in the water, kind of looks like tea or urine. Pour it all in there and give it a nice mix. I'm just going to cover it with some saran wrap, and it says let it rise for about 12 to 18 hours. I'm going to let this sit in my laundry room just because it's kind of like nice and warm and probably the best place for it, so it's out of the way. And we will check back tomorrow. Alright, let's have a look at our dough. So it's been in here for well over 20 hours. I just let it rise overnight, and then now we're gonna take it out of the bowl and try to shape it into a ball. Flour my parchment paper and my hands a little bit. Okay. Wow. Sticky. Okay, and I'm gonna transfer it back into the bowl and let it rise for another 45 minutes. So I let the oven preheat to 400 degrees with the pot inside of it so it gets extra hot. And then I just let it sit in there for about 15 minutes. And I'm gonna transfer the dough into the pot. Ooh, that was hot. get a closer look at the dough. Alright, and then now it says to put the lid back on and bake it for 30 minutes. And then after 30 minutes, we'll take it out of the oven, take the lid off, and then bake it for an additional 15 minutes. All right, see you in 30. Minutes has gone by, and I'm gonna take it out of the oven and take the lid off. Ooh, yeah. I'll show you guys what it looks like. Wow. Look at that. Okay. Put it back in for 15. And finally pulling out the bread. Ooh, it's yeasty. Looks really good. I hope it's not raw. That looks really nice and crusty. I hope it will continue to cook as I let it cool down. My only concern is that it's gonna be raw in the center, but we'll have a look once it completely cools down and then we'll cut into it. I've let this cool on the rack for over 3 hours, and it is now time to cut into it and see what we're all about. Just as I predicted, it was going to be a little bit raw, but that's okay. It might turn out better if I toasted it a little bit. But yeah, definitely think next time I'll probably leave in the oven for maybe 10 minutes longer and see if there's a difference. But overall, it's not that bad.